Hey, it's Pops. Let's talk comics. What's hot right now? Did X-Men 97 make a difference on those books that came up in a conversation? And should movies and TVs have an impact? And are they? Let's take a look at a list and talk to you about it right now.
Tune into Pop. Let me tell you about the show called Pop. So they drop the knowledge on all the latest thoughts from comics and movies, games.
All right, I'm Pops. I have been collecting, reading, investing, flipping, selling comics for quite a while, late 80s, early 90s. Had a store for a while and going to be taking the Pop Shop right back out on the road here soon. So I'll get my finger on the pulse of what's been going on. It's like, well, let me get out there and share with everybody else. So this is from the Key Collector app. You have to be a subscriber to get access to certain things. I'm not going to go through every single one on this list. This is part of their hot list and talk about a few issues, what my thoughts on those. I'm a buy, am I a sell? Where am I at on some of those things too? Let you guys tell me what you guys think. So this is not about being good or not. This is not about being great or not. The ones I'm reading right now or not. No, this is all about value, that kind of thing. So let's get right to this list. All right, first up is Detective Comics. It's from 2000. It's the first appearance of Sasha Bardo. She is going to be a character that's going to be in the upcoming Peacemaker season 2. I don't totally have a big thing on this. This is from Greg Rucka. It's a story that he did with Dave Johnson on art. I don't think I'd be all in on this. $15 is really high. I don't know that are people really that excited about Sasha Bardo? Like, is that a thing that's going to stick? But this is that TV movie influence thing. Should it matter? Should it not matter? Don't think this book is really that big a deal in the long haul because I don't think Sasha Bardo has some sort of long-lasting fandom that's going to make a difference over the long haul. So this is a big hard pass for me. I mean, I suppose if you found like a really nice near mint copy around $5, about a third of that 15, then obviously that's fine. You're not really in much, $5. But you start getting anything over that, you start to go, this thing's going to tank. It's not going to drop, have new value. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Want to hear from you. Let's go. Let's do another one. All right, this is a no-brainer. This one has kind of been on the list for a long, long time. Everybody's already run up the price on this one. So if you don't have this one, you were pretty late to the game. The raw price, the ungraded price, and near mint is probably running you about 80 to $100. Obviously, it's the first appearance of Lady Deadpool. She's obviously right there with that train spotting cover art type thing. And I think the female gender swapping, some sort of thing with Deadpool is probably in the works. I don't think Disney Marvel is going to be getting away from that anytime soon. I think this is a fair thing. The prices on these graded have kind of skyrocketed by about 20 to 30%, pretty much across the board. 9.8 is going to run you closer to $400, like $300 to $400 is where this has been running for quite a while. So don't foresee this cooling off anytime soon. There's actually a second printing that's also doing well, and a third printing, because a third printing in this is rare, is actually running higher than even the second and the first printing in some cases on a graded 9.8. But where am I at on this? This is kind of at its peak. This is its peak price. If you have this book, if you have a graded 9.8, you literally need to be figuring out when you want to have that up for sale. I would have that ready to go. I would have already probably sold this by now. I would have tried to get in at 300 or so, because when this starts to cool off, it's going to cool off. So maybe they're passing the baton to Lady Deadpool and I'm completely wrong, and this is something that's going to track for quite a while. I don't personally foresee that. It's just not my thing. I'm not a huge Deadpool comic book guy. So maybe if that's your thing, that's a reason to get in. I totally am fine with Arthur Sidem, who does like Marvel Zombies back in the day. He does the art on this book, so it is kind of cool to have that angle of the art. But I'm not a huge fan of Victor Gischler's work and Deadpool and things like that. So not my thing, but it could be for you. But I think you're at the peak of the price. Not a buy for me right now. All right, well, let's do one that I'm kind of always in a buy mode on. This is X-Men number 25. This is Magneto ripping that adamantium right out of Wolverine. It's featured 100%. We'll get to the image here in a moment. From X-Men 97. This is a hot book. It has a hologram on the cover. So they're saying about $15 raw. I'm all in on this book at about $5 to $10. Always looking for a really nice gradable copy, and I'd love to have a graded copy of this book. It's a beautiful book. Love it. Love the art. Love the story. Fatal Attractions is fantastic. It has this sort of wraparound cover too. If you get a book and you want to open it, if you get a reader copy, find one that's all banged up, that kind of thing, check that out. That's what it looks like on the other side. So getting it graded, you don't really lose that art on the back because you flip it over. And of course, here's the image that's lifted directly from the comic into the X-Men 97, why this book has taken off. And yes, key issues that tie to the show and the keys that are already keys are the ones that have taken off for sure. There's a newsstand version of this. There are variant covers of this. There's different things that are kind of in that. And there's also like error versions where there's no ink and things like that. There's also a pretty rare hologram of Gambit version, which is like a gold version. So if you're out on the look for that, those are kind of some different rarities and premiums that are kind of out there. You can kind of keep your eye out on those as well. Um, but yeah, this is one that I run across anything that's from X-Men on that first probably 30 to 50 issues from that 1990 series. I'm kind of in on looking at. I know folks will love the art and people will love most of the stories. X-Men will never go away 100%. It's tragic what Marvel and Disney has done with Miss Hanley and how this transition's gone from Fox. I think it's super solid and fun read. Like I said, I'm in on this book. I love it, and we'll get right to it. It's partner book. So yeah, let's talk about Wolverine then. So Wolverine 75 is the follow-up, right? The part 2 of the story, Wolverine sort of recovering and things like that. So it is beautiful again. This is just a great book. It's going about $10 ungraded and raw. Again, there's tons of copies. So this isn't like a book that's really hard to find or anything like that. The condition is your issue. That hologram is not being all scratched up and things like that. So this has a couple different writers. They give Larry Hama some credit on this with Rick Parker. Rick Parker, of course, heads up the ink. And then you have this great cover art by Adam Kubert. So it's just a great story. Fatal Attractions is a lot of fun. There's a crossover issue with all the main X-Men titles of this. So if you're into that, by the way, I think the X-Force one with the Cable getting the ripped apart by Magneto is nearly as tragic, if not more gruesome. So may want to check that one out. So yeah, I'm all in on this as well. All right, I want to do one more that's from really the X-Men 97 surge, if you will, or at least garnering some interest in X-Men books, because I think that it really kind of lends itself to having some legs depending on what kind of movies or MCU stuff actually comes around the horn. But this is the first appearance of Bastion. It's the book that's kind of taken off right now. It's from 1996. It's Uncanny X-Men number 33. I know he also has a cameo in X-Men number 52. That book is also kind of in a hot list, but this one's the one that people are really looking at because kind of like a full appearance with more than just a couple of panels. He's really this cool character that people really kind of, I don't know that he's the Mr. Sinister of right now, but in a lot of ways that's kind of what he is, right? So when you go back to like the Fox movie era, it's like Mr. Sinister was the villain everybody kind of expected to see at some point, and we never did. His books kind of took off, but not really, and now they have. Bastion's kind of like that too. People will kind of take notice of him, but nothing's really happened yet. So this book at ungraded raw is like $12. I have to be honest. I'm thinking this is kind of a sleeper book at $12. You probably won't find it that low because everybody's talking about this book right now, and I don't know how many. I don't know the print run this late in the game. Uncanny in 1996, so you're already kind of looking a little bit of the slide and the volumes of things. So it may be a little harder to find. And if people have it in great condition, it actually may be a little bit more than $12. So I'd be kind of interested in getting a copy of this, but I'm not going to overpay on it. We're kind of in a hype mode. So you have to be a little cautious when we're in a hype mode. All right, well, this one is going to be one of the expensive ones because this is the one that everybody's all in on, and I guess it had already run its course, and now it's going to keep running because they're going to do a live action film. It's meant to be rated R. Paramount's behind it. I don't totally have faith that it's going to be done right, but the fact that they've said all the right things should keep fans excited. This book has been hot for a long time. It's just going to continue to be hot, in my opinion. A 9.9 they exist. 9.9 in this has gone from 500 to well over 6 to closer to 650. A graded 9.8 is like 215, is now up to like 300. There's multiple variants. There's multiple issues of issue number 1. Also, issue number 5 is a big issue because the first appearance of the new turtles, those little baby turtles at the end of the story. So if you're not in on Last Ronin, first off, let me just say high recommend for the read. I can put a link in the description for some of these books if you can get over there and check them out through Amazon. I'll try to remember to do that, get that for you. I actually, in full disclosure, do have lots of copies of Last Ronin. I've sold lots of copies of Last Ronin. I'm always looking for more issues of Last Ronin. So if I could match the Amazon price on those hardcovers, I'd probably just buy them up and flip them, but I can't match the price. They got them at like $16 or $17. I can't sell them at that. They should be running 25 and $30, but get your copies, get in on Last Ronin if you can. This is more of a high dollar book at graded costs. Even ungraded, you're going to have a very high premium on it, probably closer to $150 to $200 because everybody wants it. And if they get a good copy, they can grade it because it's super good. So, all right, let me stay with the indie books. This is Guer. This is the giant size, the 80-page giant size book of Guer from 2022. It's up to about $15 because it's also the first appearance of Redcoat. So if you're not into the Ghost Machine books centered around Jeff Johns, obviously there's Guer, Redcoat, and actually Exodus, Rook Exodus, which is probably the best of the book, best of the three. But Redcoat has his first appearance in this. I think there's a lot of big buzz around how good that book is at issues, 2, 3 down, and we're still enjoying it. So I think this one's kind of a hot book. I think the ungraded version is going to run you around 10, $15 already. So hopefully you can catch one of those graded copies if you want to have it on the wall. I'm not a huge fan of that kind of cover. Those aren't really like graded covers for me, but could be for you. And it could just basically have a nice upside. So keep an eye on the price on this one. It's a little on the higher side because of the buzz, but you know what? You might luck into a copy. Never know. So, all right, let me touch on Transformers. Now, Transformers is probably the best comic book of the year. It's still great through well into issues 9, 10, 11. We're just rolling right along, and we're having a great time reading it. Tons of action, tons of stuff going on. If you haven't seen the Pile Driver, man, crazy stuff. So, a solid book. They list this at about $12. I got to be honest, I'm seeing this running closer to 15 or 20. Super hot book. Good news is there's a ton of variants of this. I have some in my little store. I am constantly buying more Transformers books and the other Energon books. I think this is wrapped really well for Duke and Cobra Commander. We're going to see Scarlet and Destro take over now, but Transformers is rolling right along. Very solid book. Tons of beautiful variants, by the way. Let me pull up one here and show you what I think. I can't wait to get a copy. All right, so this is one of the variant covers for Transformers #1. Obviously, it's a version cover. Obviously, it's amazing. It's crazy. There's only 500 of these, so there's actually graded versions already. So for me, this is kind of like hot on my list. There's also the non-virgin version of this with the logo on it. That was also, I think it's like 1,000 or 1,500 of those. So both of those are just super cool, super neat to check out. But there are tons of variants for Transformers. The Image group there with Skybound has done a great job of multiple printings and then changing up the covers, having variations of all those covers and like that. Is it padding the numbers? Sure. But you know what? They know what fans want. They want cool covers, different things we can talk about, look at different versions. And I got to be honest, that's going to create buzz for second, third, fifth printing books, things like that. So I like it. I'm all in on Transformers, as you guys probably already know. All right, I want to throw this one in the mix. Kind of a sleeper pick. The Max has been talked about now for a while, probably about a year of them, or at least the last 6 months, of them trying to get some sort of Paramount project off the ground with the Max. Max is one of those odd character ones I think could be interesting. I don't know what the creative teams can do with this one, but the book itself is fantastic. On Max, though, I want to just point out some of the sleeper stuff on this, too, in case you guys have one. There's a glow-in-the-dark version. It is super cool, way more premium, much harder to find. And then there's a newsstand version. You can see here by the barcode in the bottom left. Extremely rare for Max to be a newsstand that can grade out at a 9.8. So a super premium book there. If you happen to have a newsstand, it might be worthy of trying to reach out to somebody who would know about grading, if that'd be worthy of investing in, because that would be an oddball. I don't know if it's also too, because it's a mostly black cover, obviously, with that. Any type of scuffing, any type of handling, things like that, pretty much will cause some wear that will show up and prevent you from getting that 9.8 grade. So keep that in the back of your mind too. This book isn't super hot. I kind of have things like this on my radar screen. You've seen Pit on my wall. It's just from that heyday of the 90s that I love so much. Sam Keith's got crazy weird art, so it's not like for everybody, but I always liked it. I enjoyed the Max. There was an MTV show that they did on the Max as well. If you can look that up, get a feel for what the Max is. Anyway, that's my take on it. Let's see what you guys think. All right, I'm not going to take up too much more of your time. I could run down the list. There's tons more of X books. According to them, X-Men 97 has garnered a lot of interest to the first appearance of all these different characters, from Mr. Sinister to the first time, Cyclops and Jean got married, to the famous Gambit Rogue Kiss cover to the Forge Storm cover to all of them have some attention. Now, I'm interested to see if that actually is on the ground and if it's not wide, broad, and wide or not. I don't know. I think that it would be great to see that. I know that the Ultimate line has really fizzled now. Many of us are kind of like on that because once you got to Ultimate Spider-Man 3, it just really did nothing for a couple issues before its finale. Ultimate X-Men has just done nothing. It's just boring. No one gets the Ultimate Black Panther thing. The dude has his suit and stuff. So all the multiple printings and some of the stuff that was on the hot list, I think, are finally cooling down. And that I think only the Ultimates, which is offering some sort of like big first appearances of things, is the only reason that that would be considered on the list. But I'm not even going to pay any of that any mind right now. I'm going to kind of wait and see how any of that plays out. Notice too, all the Spawn stuff kind of fizzled out. They kind of didn't move forward with any of their movie talk, TV talk, none of that. So it's really damaging their brand. Their comics are great, but then after a while, you get into issues. You're into issue 18, 20, and you haven't really resolved things from like a year ago. People get bored. People get tired. They find other things to read. So I think that's another reason you're seeing some of the Spawn books not be as hot as they were for a while, not being as talked about. So there's a ton of other indie things that have been optioned or whatever. I'm probably going to save that for now. Maybe come back and do another whole video on that at one point because there's a ton of like things like, Stray Dogs that's on the list, which is a great little read, especially if you kind of love the idea of like combining something innocent and sweet, like cartoon animals, and then like a horror or suspense thriller story. They have one out right now with cats, and it's called Feral. I'm enjoying that one as well. But those are sort of like very niche ones. Those are actually really good sleeper investment picks for those of you who don't mind taking that risk. Because if nothing ever comes of it, you're out because it's not going to be, no one's looking for it. But if it gets made, it becomes a big hit or something like that, it could become like the next kind of Crow book, the first appearance of Crow kind of thing. Like you never know. So anyway, that's it. Do you guys like this? Is this something you would want me to do again? I know I don't want to go through every single thing on these folks' app. I love their app. I don't want to damage their brand and their thing like that. I think Key Collector, I'd love to partner with these guys to figure out how to ramp up their app to be more accurate with reflect just eBay prices. If they could just reflect some eBay pricing, I think they would radically change the market. And right now, it's kind of nuanced. We're kind of accurate, but not always accurate. It has a hyperlink to eBay, so I know they've got a partnership there, but not as interfaced as you would like. But not everybody's into making money off these. Not everybody's into that, but I thought I would at least have that kind of conversation with you guys because it's what I've been doing, what's been on my mind. I've been bagging comics. I've been pricing, sorting cards and comics, trying to get ready for this thing I'm doing here soon. So yeah, if you have any comments or questions, feel free to throw them my way. I'd love to hear from you. You guys take care. Talk to you soon. I am Pops.
Thank you for